You have to dress well. You're meeting important people. You're drinking. You're eating, but still you're working because constantly you're thinking, okay, I need to talk to this man. I need to find out what his government is thinking, what is happening between Pakistan and China, what is China doing with the US. Who do I find information from? How do I put it into my next report to back to Delhi? I need to know what is happening in India. I need to know what's happening in China. I need to know what's happening in the world. So it's a lot of hard work, and the better you do that work, the more successful you are as a diplomat. And there's a lot of grind. There is routine administration, there is passport and visa work, which is very important for the people. There are people who get into problems, you need to try and rescue them. So none of them is boring. But the Foreign Service officer deals with a variety of issues of a kind very few other professions have.
So we can say that a diplomat can never enjoy a party because every time he wants to make something out of
it. The art is in working while enjoying, or in enjoying your work and doing both. Enjoy your wine, enjoy your food, but also enjoy the conversation and keep your mind alert to pick tidbits out of it which will be useful to you.
Hello and welcome. This is Pallavi and you are watching Indian Masterminds. Today we speak with Venu Rajamony, a senior Indian diplomat and academic who has represented India at some of the world's most important global platforms. A former ambassador to India to the Netherlands, he also served as India's permanent representative to the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, handling relations with institutions like the International Court of Justice. He was also the press secretary to President Pranab Mukherjee, working closely with the Rashtrapati Bhavan for 5 years. Post his diplomatic career, he served as officer on special duty for external cooperation for the government of Kerala with the rank of chief secretary. He now teaches diplomatic practice at Jindal Global Law School. In this conversation, we explored the human side of diplomacy, leadership, and life beyond official roles. So let's welcome Mr. Rajamony. Hi, sir. Welcome to Indian Masterminds.
Hi, Pallavi. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. First of all, let me thank you for giving us time. And I think it's going to be a great conversation because it's the first time I am interviewing any Indian Foreign Services officer. I have already interviewed many IPS, IS officers and even forest officers as well, but it's the first time I'm interviewing a Foreign Services officer. So, sir, let me start from the beginning. I know that you grew up in Thiruvananthapuram and Kochi. So I wanted to know how your journey came to JNU and from JNU till UPSC, if you can explain it in brief. A bit of your childhood and then your college journey.
My childhood was in Thiruvananthapuram, as you just now mentioned. I studied in two of the prominent schools there, the Holy Angels Convent and then the St. Joseph's School. My father was a lawyer practicing in Trivandrum, and he decided to shift his practice to Cochin, where the Kerala High Court is located. That was the time I was going into my 8th standard. So I shifted along with my family to Cochin. Yeah. And from my high school onwards, I was in Cochin. I was first in the St. Joseph School in Cochin. It is in a place called Kalamasheri. And then I did 5 years in the Maharaja's College of Ernakulam, which is one of the oldest and most prestigious colleges in the state. It is completing 150 years now, this year. And after that, when I was in Maharaja's College, I found that my interest was in political science. So I studied a bachelor's in political science. And within political science, I found international relations most interesting.
Yeah.
So I wanted to come to Jawaharlal Nehru University, which had the most well-known school of international relations at that point of time. And there were a few of my college seniors who had already come to GNU in advance. So I contacted them and they also encouraged me to come to Delhi. And they supported me when I came here. So that is how I landed in Jawaharlal Nehru University. After GNU, I went back to Cochin to do a law degree at the Mahatma Gandhi University in the Ernakulam Law College.
Okay.
And while I was studying for law, I also got a job with the Indian Express and became staff correspondent of the Indian Express.
Okay.
So I shifted to law part-time while I was working full-time with Indian Express. And in the midst of all this, I wrote the civil service exams. I don't know how I got through, and I managed to do all of it. But it was a roller coaster. So I did my law, I did my Indian Express job, and I wrote the civil service exams twice. The first time I made it to the postal service, but I was not very keen on it because I had studied international relations in JNU. I was very clear in my mind that I wanted the foreign service.
Okay.
So I wrote the exam again, and I qualified to the foreign service in the second chance. I was the topper of that year's batch of the foreign service. I could have opted for IAS and taken Kerala Cadre, but I chose to stick with foreign service primarily because of my university background.
Okay.
And when I was in Cochin, before I came to Delhi, civil services was not that prominent in my mind. But when I came to JNU in Delhi, then I saw that everybody around me was doing civil service, and many people were qualifying and getting into the services also.
Yes.
So I had in me the feeling that I should also try it out. I want to test myself if I can make it or not. And that's how I came to do the civil services exams. Otherwise, the law, my father being a lawyer, law was always a second option. And that's why I went back to Cochin and studied law.
Okay.
In the end, both these, this journey helped me a lot in my civil services exams because the subjects I chose was political science, international relations, and law. And I found that constitutional law, international law, these are common to both these subjects. So I was able to do my subject papers fairly easily.
Okay. And sir, and now this was my second question only. Like you just said, already there was kind of an environment about civil services in JNU that led you towards it. But I wanted to know, like, law, you already explained since your father was a lawyer, so that was kind of your backup option. But why Indian Express? Why suddenly being a correspondent? So
well, that is a big story.
Yeah.
What had happened was that I met my now wife, Saroj, when I was in JNU.
Okay.
And after I went back to Cochin, we decided to get married. And she had to come down. She comes from Darjeeling in the state of West Bengal in India. So she had to come down. And then my father said, look, how can you think of a job without even having how can you think of marriage without even having a job?
Okay.
So I started applying for all jobs that I could find left, right, and center. Okay. And it so happened that around that time, the resident editor of the Indian Express in Cochin had contacted my father asking if he had somebody to recommend who could cover courts, and there was a lot of activity surrounding public interest litigation at that time. So the editor had wanted my father to suggest a lawyer who could do the work part-time. Okay. But instead, my father told me, look, go have a meeting with him, see if he would be interested in you. Okay. And I went and met him. Later, the resident editor said it was like love at first sight. So he immediately sent a strong recommendation to Indian Express Chennai. Okay. And I got appointed without even a formal interview. I had just met him informally at his residence and given him my CV. But let me tell you also that I truly look back upon my days of as a journalist. 2.5 years, I was staff correspondent. I was a regular reporter, a cub reporter who started off as a journalist. And I thoroughly enjoyed every moment of it. I had a lot of excitement during those days. I covered a lot of stories, and I still look upon those days with a lot of fondness, and I still have a lot of friends that I made at that time who still continue to be very close to me. From that period onwards, I discovered that I had a passion for journalism and public affairs public relations. Also, my journalist career also helped me in the civil services. Let me say that before I became a journalist, right from my school days, I used to be an avid reader of the newspapers. In my school, in my high school, my headmistress sort of nominated me to read the newspapers every day and to sort of talk about the highlights in the school assembly every morning. So that got me into reading newspapers. And when I became a journalist, my interest in newspapers and my knowledge of newspapers and journalism grew even more. And it helped me develop a lot of common sense and ability to judge what is happening from different perspectives. And all this, I believe, contributed to both my passing the civil service exams, and also my success as a diplomat in the subsequent years.
Yeah, I think life came into a full circle when you became the media secretary of the president. But we'll talk about it later because I have a separate section for that. Right now, I wanted to know, like I think you were you were also involved in the student politics in JNU. You became the vice president. So I wanted to know about those days, like how was it? And have you ever thought when you were the vice president of student union, have you ever thought of making politics your full-time career, or your eyes were always on, being a lawyer, either a lawyer or in services?
Well, first I should tell you that I was in student politics even in Kerala before I came to GNU.
Okay.
So I told you about my time at the Maharajas College, where I spent 5 years. So I concluded my stay there as chairman of the Students' Union, and that's a very prestigious position within the Kerala context.
Right.
So I had been actively involved in student politics. And then, of course, JNU also, I was involved in student politics. And when I went to law too, law and politics often go together. So I had thought of politics as a career. I had thought of combining it with law. So in that sense, civil services was never my only option.
Yes.
But as I told you, I wanted to also test myself. And once I got into the service, I said, okay, let me enjoy the service, and I can always step out and come back to politics or law whenever I want. But in the meantime, I have to also say that by the end of my stay in JNU, I was very frustrated with student politics. I was frustrated with national politics. So I was not very motivated to go into full-time politics. That also drove me closer to the civil service.
Okay, so it's safe to say that now you are not thinking of, contesting any elections after retirement. Like politics is totally out of your radar right now, or is it still an option?
I wouldn't say politics is out of my radar in the sense that I have strong views and convictions, and I would like to hold on strongly to them. They concern my conscience and my belief in my country and where it should go. In that sense, I am still interested in politics, but electoral politics is not a priority for me, and I don't think I will contest elections.
Okay. So now coming to your...
anyway, nobody has invited me.
So that was my question. If you get an invitation, will you contest an election or no?
That's a sort of a speculative question. It's a question of who invites and whether you like that party and whether you really want what is the nature of politics at that time.
Yeah.
So I would not go into that realm of speculation.
Yeah, got it, sir. Okay, now coming back to Indian Foreign Services, like could you take me to the time when you joined the services and you got your first posting? How was it? How was the experience? Because your life was around Delhi, Kerala, and then to Indian Foreign Services you got your first appointment.
So in the foreign service, when you join the service, one of the first things you have to do is to choose a language of specialization.
Yes.
Every foreign service officer has to choose a foreign language. So when I joined the service, I was initially thinking that I have learned a little bit of French in school, and I should take Spanish. And between Spanish, English, and French, I can go anywhere in the world.
Mhm.
But I was very lucky to meet a very senior retired diplomat at the time,
Mhm.
Mr. A.K. Damodaran, just the day I joined, I think.
Mhm.
And he asked me, what language do you want to take? And I told him Spanish.
Mhm.
And he strongly counseled me against it. He
Okay.
said, look, when the government sends you to learn a language, choose a difficult language. Don't go for an easy language. Spanish is something you can learn if you have an aptitude anytime, anywhere within a short period of time, doing some part-time classes. So he advised me to choose a difficult language. And I thought that was very sensible advice. And then when I thought about it a second time, the languages that came into my mind was Chinese, Japanese, Arabic, Russian. And of all these languages, I liked Chinese the most. I said, having studied international relations,
Mhm.
whether for good or for bad, China will always be our biggest neighbor.
Yes.
It has a permanent position in the life of India and Indians. And therefore, to specialize in Chinese would be the best. Thus, I chose Chinese language, and that dictated my first posting,
Yes.
which was to Hong Kong to learn Chinese language. For 2 years, the government sent me to the University of Hong Kong. And then I was able to follow it up with a posting in Beijing,
Mhm.
where I spent another 3 years looking after education, culture, information, etc.
What is the one cultural habit that you picked up from another country and still follow? Do you have any or no?
I mean, there are so many cultural habits that we should pick up.
But what
But
you have
I
picked
mean,
up?
I know I can't think of anything that I have made habit of mine, but there are many that I would like
Yeah.
to make a habit of mine. For example, the Chinese eat dinner by 6 o'clock, and that is the most healthy thing
Yeah.
that you can probably do.
Yes.
That is one good thing. And the Dutch have a wonderful practice of after any meeting, immediately they will send you an email summarizing the points that you discuss so that it stays as a record. It's easy to follow up, etc. So there are many cultural habits that we can learn and we must learn from the world.
Mm.
But I can't offhand think of anything that I've
You
made
have
part
picked.
of my life forever.
Okay. And
For
also,
the moment, I'm struggling to make yoga part of my life
yeah,
every day. And that is from India, not from
India
abroad.
one. Yeah, obviously. So, any like you are a seasoned diplomat, so did you ever feel cultural shock in any country?
Often you feel culture shock when you come back to India.
Okay.
You forget on one hand how much India has changed, and sometimes you are disappointed at
Mhm.
how much you have not changed. You are not used to all the sights and sounds that you normally see on the Indian street when
Okay.
you live abroad for long. So we call it reverse culture shock.
Okay.
That is common. But otherwise, what would stand out is, say, in China, I went to China twice.
Mhm.
When I first went from 19 to 93, it was still the old China.
Mhm.
But by the time I went a second time in 1999,
Mhm.
China had completely transformed. The people had transformed, infrastructure had changed, the goods in the market had changed,
Mhm.
mindsets had changed. It was much more open. So that was a big culture shock.
Okay. And any cuisine from around the world which you still miss the most?
I love trying different cuisine. So wherever I have been, I've always enjoyed the local food.
Mhm.
So in particular, Chinese, once again, we in India eat a very corrupted form of Chinese, Indian Chinese food.
Yeah.
The joke is that this is the revenge we take on Chinese for having beaten us in the War of 62. We have destroyed their food so that it is unrecognizable and made it our own.
Mhm.
But within China, like in India, every province has its own cuisine. There's
Okay.
huge variety. There is an entire school of vegetarian cuisine. There
Okay.
is spicy food, there is non-spicy food.
Mhm.
There is what is known as dim sum or small snacks.
Yes.
So it's huge variety, and I've really enjoyed having food in China, and I miss authentic Chinese food,
Okay.
which is available in some expensive hotels in India,
Mhm.
but not very commonly everywhere.
Yeah, but I have heard from people that the Chinese food in their original form, I don't think Indians will like it. Indian likes their own Indian version of Chinese with that jeera ka tadka.
This, yeah, that's because we put Indian spices into Chinese food, which we are used to.
Yeah.
But most Chinese cuisines are relatively bland.
Okay.
But there are two cuisines,
Okay.
one from Sichuan and the other from Hunan. Sichuan food and Hunan food, which are spicy. And
Okay.
Sichuan is really, it's spicy with a difference and very enjoyable. And they use a kind of pepper which stings your lips and numbs your lips. It has an anesthetic effect.
That.
So it's wonderful and very enjoyable.
Okay. And sir, usually diplomacy looks very glamorous from outside, but what's the least glamorous part of this job?
Well, there's a lot of hard work. You have to work morning till night. Even after work, if you may be going for a party which looks glamorous, you have
Hmm.
to dress well. You're meeting important people. You're drinking. You're eating, but still you're working because constantly you're thinking, okay, I need to talk to this man. I need to find out what his government is thinking.
Hmm.
What is happening between Pakistan and China? What is China doing with the US? Who do I find information from? How do I put it into my next report to back to Delhi? I need to know what is happening in India. I need to know what's happening in China. I need to know what's happening in the world. So it's a lot of hard work, and the better you do that work, the more successful you are as a diplomat. And there's a lot of grind. There is routine administration. There is passport and visa work, which is very important for the people. There are people who get into problems. You need to try and rescue them.
Mhm.
So none of them is boring.
No.
But the foreign service officer deals with a variety of issues of a kind very few other professions have.
So we can say that a diplomat can never enjoy a party because every time he wants to make
The,
something
the
out
art, the art is in working
of
while enjoying, or in
while.
enjoying your work and doing both. Enjoy your wine, enjoy your food, but also enjoy the conversation
Yeah.
and keep your mind alert to pick tidbits out of it, which will be useful to you.
Okay. And sir, I think your answer would be listening only, but still, I would ask this question. I would like to ask, which skill do you think matters more in diplomacy, listening or speaking? I think it's listening only, because then only.
Indeed, you must listen. Only when you listen, you will know how
Yeah.
to speak and what to speak.
Right.
But listening is alone not enough. Like I said, homework, studying,
Yeah.
and having an open mind, being open to new experiences, new views, new perspectives. All that is very important.
Okay. And what is one misconception people have about diplomats even now?
There's an old saying that diplomats are people sent abroad to lie for the country, that you go there and say falsehoods about your country.
Yeah.
I think that period has completely changed in today's day of internet, and there's so much information flow. You can't hide realities of India, but you can be honest and you can say, look, we are trying to do our best, and this is how we are trying to solve it, and this is the progress we have made. For example, the law and order situation as it pertains to women, security of women. By
Mhm.
just going and saying everywhere, everything in India is safe, you don't achieve anything. You can't say Nirbhaya never happened.
Yes, yes, sir.
You can't say foreign tourists don't get hurt or molested or something. So we have to say there are isolated incidents, but wherever something happens, the government goes
Mm.
after the people responsible, tries to take strict action and takes precautions to ensure that they never happen again. So
Mm.
you have to present an honest picture of your country and your society
Yeah,
and
right
your
now I
government.
think since it's the era of social media, I don't think anybody can hide a small incident also. So yeah, and sir, you mentioned that Indian, yeah, all diplomats have to deal with variety of work, and you have to deal with citizen also. So what was the most unusual request you ever received from an Indian citizen abroad?
Well, when I was in Dubai, one of the first things which happened was a woman from India had been trafficked
Hmm.
and was being forced into prostitution, and she had escaped the traffickers. Some passing taxi driver saw her, put her in a car, and came and brought her to the doorstep of the consulate.
Oh.
So, in a place like UAE, where you don't know the language, where everything is strange, where really there is no mechanisms to deal with problems of this kind,
Hmm.
the Indian consulate becomes the refuge for all people in problem. So how to deal with that case, how to ensure, give her protection, how to look after her, how to help her contact her family, send her back. All of this was a huge challenge. And this is just one of hundreds of such challenges I had to face in Dubai.
Yeah, sir, actually, this was the obviously, it's good that you shared, but I wanted to know, have you ever come across any unusual demand from any Indian citizen while working abroad? Like they have reached out to you with some unusual demands, or no, that never happened?
Normally, we get unusual demands from visiting Indian politicians and bureaucrats.
Okay.
Not, if not unusual, unreasonable.
Okay. Okay, so we'll let that be. And
Sure.
lastly, sir, is there any Indian film that depicts diplomat in almost correct way?
Well, there have been some movies which have come out recently,
Hmm.
but none, I would say, has truly represented the life and the challenges of a diplomat.
Okay.
So I
And
would love to have see a movie made on the life of a diplomat in a place like Dubai.
okay. And sir, any your favorite movie about diplomacy in and around the world? I think there is one series also ongoing in on Netflix. It titled
That's right.
The
The
Diplomat
Diplomat,
only.
correct. It's
And
a very good series.
yeah.
Have enjoyed watching that. That's also an exaggerated version. It's
Okay.
not true,
Okay.
but it is fun and it is an enjoyable series to watch.
Okay. Okay, sir. So on that note, I think I have crossed the deadline. It was supposed to end at 3, but okay, I'm very thankful for your patience and
Thank
thank
you,
you so
Pallavi.
much.
All the best to you.
Yeah,
Enjoyed talking to you.
yeah, same here, sir. Thank you so much. So this was Mr. Venu Rajamony. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. To watch more such interesting conversation and stories from bureaucracy and governance, please like and subscribe our channel. Until then, stay curious and stay tuned to Indian Masterminds. Thank you so much for watching.